Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Pageau.
The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by MediaClip, Photo Finale, and Advertech Printing. Hello again and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Pageau, and today we're joined by Kasper Rybak, the product owner of Smart Creation at Printbox. Kasper's coming to us from Krakow, Poland today. Hi, Kasper. How are you doing?
Hi, Gary. I'm fine. Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So for the few people who aren't familiar with Printbox, can you just give us the 10,000-foot overview of the company and the markets you serve?
Of course. So Printbox is an enterprise photo products software provider, meaning that we are developing software solutions for online stores that sell photo gifts and photo prints. And our customers are able to define vast array of photo products. And in turn, consumers are able to interact with those products in one of our 4 editors, each one tailored to specific photo product type need. And our main area of excellence is our photo books and photo albums. So those most advanced photo products that are hard to create, And our goal is to equip those stores with the tools to sell more photo products and to attract new customers. So Printbox is on the market since 2013, and we have customers in more than 50 countries. And last year, in 2020, more than 11 million projects were created in our editors.
You talked about the 4 product categories before. What are those categories? One of them is clearly photo books. What are the other 3 sort of categories?
We have 4 editor types.
Oh, 4 editor types.
Well, yes. So they are tailored to specific product types. So we have this advanced editor that lets you create really advanced photo products, and so like photo books. And we have this simple editor, and that's for like canvases, or when you don't want to have all those controls, I would say. And the third one is a pro editor for those customers that are living in this professional market. And the third one is for prints, because prints are quite different than the other one.
Right. So rather than have a one-size-fits-all situation where it's a universal editor trying to accommodate all the products, you streamline your technology based on the types of users who are likely going to get through that.
Yes, exactly. We want their journey to be as easy as possible, but without costs of getting too much from them.
Speaking of a journey, you've been on a journey to develop Smart Creation. Can you tell us what Smart Creation is and a little bit about the development process and the technology used?
Yeah, sure. All of the Smart Creation thing started actually with Printbox, because our CEO knew that it is the future. The photo books shouldn't take too much time to create. They should take time to enjoy, and not to be worked on. But we had to create all those other parts of our system,
right,
to go from this point of, okay, we have everything set up, and now go into this, okay, so now this big thing, we will actually do stuff for you, stuff that you didn't even know that we can automate. That's what we wanted from the beginning, but it's actually it could happen only in last year in 2020.
So it's a technology, it's an artificial intelligence AI-based technology for creating. Is it just photo books, or is it for the other products as well? Does it do suggestive selling for the other product platforms categories?
Right now we are focusing only on photo books, but this was like base case we wanted to solve and see how good we are at this. And in the future, we're not sure yet. Maybe we will go into other directions as well. Right now, we want to really nail it with the photo books, and that's what we are seeing here.
That's really been one of the challenges with the entire photo book category for years, has been the problem of getting people, consumers, to tell stories when they may not have the ability themselves to tell a story, right? They may not have the right access or assets. They may not have all the pictures. They may not know how to pick one picture better than another, or do a page layout. And it's, the abandonment rate at one time, I'm not sure what it is now, but in the US, it was like 70% of photo books that were started were never finished. Clearly, that's something that needs to be addressed, because people clearly want the product or they wouldn't have started it in the first place. But it got to a point where it was either too hard to do, they didn't have the right assets, or maybe it was just too expensive, right? Because that is part of the equation, which you guys don't control, is the pricing. So how long has Smart Creation been in the market, and what has been the initial reaction among your partners who have implemented it?
So we showed Smart to the world in October in 2020, so last year. And well, we had also to get customers to enable it on their stores. So it took a little bit of time, and we had first customer start in February. And later, because we've done this rollout step by step, because we wanted to see those numbers, dig into the data, so we didn't want to be flooded by it. And we've made it step by step and observed. And so that, our main hypothesis was correct, that we are able to shorten the time of photo book creation, and the conversion at the same time went up for those users that used Smart Creation. So this was the whole, my whole 2021 was to get customers to enable the Smart. They wanted to do it, but we wanted to do it in a proper manner to observe how end users are working with it, and whether we are where we wanted to be.
Right. I'm just curious, how many customers have implemented Smart Creation, just in a general sense, and we're in different countries? I'm just curious if you saw any regional differences in acceptance among consumers. Because there is some wide variety of experiences among consumers over how they interact with UXs and interfaces and with photo products.
Yes, fortunately, as I said earlier, we have customers in more than 50 countries. So when we told about Smart that we have something like that, many of them just showed up and said, okay, please turn it on for us. And happily, those were customers from different regions. So we were able to do it and observe, yes, that there are differences between regions. They are not so obvious. In some regions, people tend to, jump into this functionality and try it. And maybe the conversion didn't went up so much. And in another region, they were more hesitant to use it, but when they use it, they were converted more easily. So yes, there are differences. Actually, one thing wasn't a difference for this whole year. What we saw is that our main hypothesis of we will be able to shorten the time was correct. We dropped the average time users spend of active design from 4 hours to 2.5 hours. So we dropped 40% of the time. And for me, it's really, really important, because I'm saving time for people, they are saving hours every day. So many hours are saved.
your platform, it works, on mobile and on phones. What is the process? Can you kind of, I know we're in an audio medium now, unfortunately we can't show it, but what does the AI actually do for the user? Does it select the pictures? Does it suggest the layouts? What is the AI piece of it actually helping consumers with?
The AI as artificial intelligence is helping us in this process of selecting pictures.
Okay.
And this, because you have those standard classical image processing algorithms that are quite good because, they can detect those really bad pictures, really bad photos. But when you want to really look what's on those pictures, is it the photo about people, about my family, or is it a landscape? You probably should use AI. We also use AI for detecting like similar images, because when you are making a photo book and you're taking those photos from a trip and made like 10 shots of one view because it was very nice, but you didn't know that you've made the correct photo in the first place. So you've made few shots and you want one photo, because if you put like 10 or I don't know, in 5 of those photos into the book, it won't be very good. Let's say.
Right.
When you do it every time, the book will probably be boring.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. We use artificial intelligence to say, okay, those photos are probably from one series and you should pick only one from from it.
That's an interesting point, because one of the challenges consumers have is, back in the days of analog, which I remember, I'm not sure if you do, but it wasn't I grew up with film. So, there was a cost to taking a picture. So you took a picture. And so people were kind of judicial in their usage of photography, because it's like, boy, this every time I press the button, it's going to cost me a dime or whatever it was. Nowadays, they can shoot like crazy. And like you said, you're going to take a picture of a tree, and you're going to take 5 or 6 pictures of the tree. You're going to try different angles, different exposures. You're going to filter the crap out of it. So what you're saying is you're kind of helping the consumer choose, of those 6 or 7 pictures of that tree, it's going to help you select that one. What about the actual layout of the book? Is it more template based, or is it driven by what the system knows about the pictures? Like, does it group similar pictures on the same page, or, that sort of thing?
Okay, so I see 2 questions here. One is whether we are template based. What we wanted to do is something for our customers. When we have customers that really invested in those themes, in those templates, we wanted to enable their templates to shine with the Smart. So we wanted Smart to be compatible with all those rich books, rich in elements wise. So this is one thing. If you have those themes that you really like and enable Smart on them, Smart will adapt itself to those templates.
Right.
And for another customers that have really is focused on minimalistic designs and have like all black or all white books, Smart will also do the job for this customer. And the second part of this question is how we actually group photos. And this is a very, very nice question, because I'm really proud of what we've achieved here, because we wanted to tell the stories, tell stories so that if you open up the Smart photo book, you will be able to tell a story of, for example, someone else. When I made a presentation about Smart in October 2020, and we used photos from vacation of our CEO, and I was able to tell story of his vacation, because those groups were so neatly placed. From this point of view, when we don't want to, for example, group them by colors, we could do that, but what we want to achieve in the first place is the story. And actually, if you place photos like that, when you're in one place and you're taking photos of this one place, it will kind of blend because you're, for example, if you're in the forest, all those pictures will be in the forest.
Right.
So that's something that came as something we maybe kind of aim for, but it really stands out.
I'm just curious about how the books are looking now in terms of, do you get a sense, and I know it's difficult to gauge, do you get a sense of, are the books using more pictures, fewer pictures, that sort of thing? One thing that I learned, when you see a consumer make a photo book with their own picture, they tend to want to use everything, and they overwhelm the book, and then all of a sudden their little project takes, instead of a 20-page book, they got a 40-page book, and that may be what leads to abandonment, actually. So do you have any insight into that? Is there an ideal number for your CEO's vacation book, for example? Is there a sweet spot that AI has found, is the question?
Well, it's okay. So this is something we are constantly evaluating. And for example, we looking for how many changes people are doing to their smart prepared projects,
right,
to see whether we go into the right direction.
Right.
But it's hard because when you will speak to me, I will tend to have like less photos and maybe not so long book. But if you will talk to my wife, so this is kind of hard. So you don't want to just take away this control from the user. What you want to do is, and this is something we will focus in next month, is to give user really fast lane into the project, so that he sees his photo in with the whole theme and how it feels, and this should be really instantaneous. And later give him control to play with it. Right. And said, okay, sorry, my wife told me that it needs to be longer because there's too many photos went out. So I have to do it. Make it easy for him to change what we've done and adjust it to his taste.
So you're seeing people adjusting after the initial creation is done, the AI creation happens, people are still adjusting. But even with that process, they're still saving an hour and a half.
Yes.
So even with the customization on the back end, where you're giving them maybe 80 to 90% of what they want, and then they're going to go back and dork around with it, probably, change the background colors or the add captions and who knows what else. They're still saving a lot of time.
Yes, exactly. Because when you start smart, it processes your photos and build your project. You are so much ahead of the standard path when you would do it manually. Because when you're doing it manually, you have to take those photos and move them to the pages and groups them. You have to think about grouping them so that create this logical history.
Right.
And then you need to play with how they are arranged. Maybe you want to, take 2 or 3 trials and see what was best, but you have to do it like 40 times. So this is where your 1 hour went. And maybe you're still thinking, okay, so maybe the other photo would be better, and you spend the other half there. So this is where we are saving time. It's not that we're minimize it to like all our users are buying photo books after 5 times of looking at the result. No, they are customizing their project, and it's good because everyone wants something different. They want to have their family, their style in it, not the one that was created by some machine, but their starting point is way ahead.
Let's now jump to the partner side. You've had some partners implement it, and so you've had them kind of go through the process of, I'm sure there's some trial and error in terms of how they talk to their customers if they have this new feature and everything else. What are some of the best practices you would suggest for partners to implement the smart creation type system?
I would really recommend testing it with users. So getting feedback is very important part, because, for example, one of our customers forced his customers, so the end users, to use Smart. It was on a small scale. We knew that it's not the main store, but still it was forced upon users. So some of them didn't really like it and wrote, please give me my standard way, what I'm used to, back, because I don't want to learn new things. I learned already. So there will be people like that.
Yeah.
And still, when we enabled Smart, when we enabled the normal path together with Smart, they moved, of course, to the manual path. But people that still wanted to use Smart, they were also still using Smart.
Okay.
So this is something you should be aware of, that you should listen to your customers and give them tools to send you feedback. I like it. I don't like it. This should be working somehow in other direction. Thanks to that, you can just send it also to us. We will be very grateful, and we will just improve it over time. We want it, as we see it, as something that will be the future of the industry. We want to constantly improve it, so that in a year or two we are way ahead.
So you're not recommending doing all or nothing switch to smart creation, that there should be people can opt into the experience if they want to, but like you said, a lot of people spend a lot of time learning the UI. They kind of have it tweaked the way they want. They know where things are, and a lot of people don't like change, especially. I mean, they're not in the business of learning UIs, and they want to make a photo book for their family. So I totally understand it. So what you're saying is, don't do just an automatic switch, because you may alienate some of your existing customers.
Exactly. And this is, sometimes it's not about saying to them, okay, just do it as you always do, and 10 years from now you will also be doing manual mode when all the people know that Smart can save them time. What you want to do is hear them out, see what they have problems with, and show them the benefits of Smart, so that they are aware. They don't have to use it. Like, next time I'm doing photobook, I will go with Smart and nothing else. No, let them try. It will, like, few minutes of trial, and I'm back to my manual mode. I'm still convinced that I'm doing such a great job in manual. I'll spend a day or two of active design. I told you the average is 4 hours, but I saw people that were doing like 8 days of active time on a project.
Right.
So this is a real thing. And you want them to try to see the benefits, because maybe they will say, okay, I'll use it, and I will start from there and will spend 3 hours instead of my normal 8. And we've just saved you 5 hours of your time.
What has been the most interesting piece of feedback you've gotten, either from a end user, a consumer, or from a partner?
That's a nice question. Okay, so this one was a pretty unexpected, because some people were thinking that we're so smart, that we are taking much more things into consideration when grouping photos, because they were so impressed by how they were grouped, that they wrote to us what Smart does and how good it is. And we are very, very happy because of it, because we were able to get this really good outcome of people saying, wow, this grouping is really good without complicating things too much.
Right.
So that was a very nice thing because it was so detailed of what we are actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done like 1/5 of this.
So they interpreted that you were doing more than what you were doing.
Yes, but this was great because they were very happy with the results. So this was a win-win situation.
So you've had it in the marketplace for about a year, and it's been up during a pandemic, which is probably inhibited travel and family activities, which are the normal genesis of photo books, which I guess if you're going to launch a new platform, it's not the worst time because you're not overwhelming it and you can actually spend some time. So what do you see going forward in 2022? Some of the enhancements you may want to involve, or some of the trends you may see, hopefully, as the world comes out of the pandemic in 2022 or and beyond?
What we are focusing right now is what I told you earlier, is that this path to seeing my photos in a project, in a complete project, to shorten that time to really be so easy. Just give us your photos and you will see your project, and then you can try to play with it. And we want to really nail this thing. And later there's always this work of constant improvement of all of those algorithms, so selection and book building. So this is something we will have to work on constantly. And one thing that is very important is right now, although we have smart on our responsive design, so you can on mobile enter the web page and smart will work on this, but we need to look into the smart on apps on our mobile applications.
Okay,
that's what we would like also to see in, because we know that the trend is into mobile. We are aware of it, but we also are aware that big portion of photo books, of those really complex photo books, are being created classically on the desktop, on the online editor.
Yeah, because there's sort of this bifurcation in the photo book market where you have the very quick one image per page format, not a lot of design. That's usually the apps, right? And then there's the more complicated where you want to enter text and things. And yes, you can do that responsibly on a phone, but it is more difficult. I think, maybe younger people with smaller fingers who were born digital and all that may gravitate towards that. But so I see what you're saying. So you're not saying it's a one size fits all solution for that, but you definitely are going to have to include it in your apps, right?
Yes, exactly. We want to see what should be moved to the application, because, as you said, we don't see people creating a very complex project and manually customizing them on a mobile application. So, and for example, when you are choosing photos right now, well, it's people have many photos on their mobile phones, but they are able to quickly, select them, for example, and just, okay, so maybe the selection for now is not a necessity.
Right.
So those are the questions that are still answering them is still ahead of us, but we want to dig into them.
If someone's interested in learning more about smart creation and Printbox, where would they go for more information?
Well, the best way would be to get into the getprintbox.com, our official site, and just contact us. You will find contact form there. We will be happy to hear you. If you have some ideas on how to make smart creation better and make it easier for people to create photo books, you can contact me as well.
It really sounds like you are very open to feedback. You've mentioned that several times. Is that a part of the company culture?
Yes, this is what we want to build upon, because this is so crucial. If you're close to feedback, you can do things that are not impacting your customers and not impacting your users. You're making stuff that isn't really valuable. And we don't want to do that. We want to, make those changes that we will see are changing how people are behaving. For example, this is the funny part. Right now, there are some people that when they are thinking about creating photo books, they are thinking, okay, I will have to make selection. I will have to select my photos, because that's what they are used to. That's what they saw in the past. And you don't see them in your dropout rate because they didn't even went to your store, because the whole idea of going through 2,000 photos is too much for them. They will just, okay, I'll just see those photos on my computer from time to time. And this never happens. So this is the behavior we want to change. We want those people to suddenly know that, okay, I can go there, they will select photos for me, and I will have this photo book with their history that I can show to my family, and they will be happy to have their physical, their memories in a physical form.
Right. So actually, you just touched on an interesting point, because we've always talked about the abandonment rate, as an industry thing, but how many people never even start because they've maybe have talked to a friend and the friend said, I'm showing you this photo book, isn't this beautiful? And the first question they ask is, well, how long did this take you to make? It's like, well, it took me 4 hours, and it's like, I don't have time for that. So I think as the word gets out that these AI tools are available across the industry, I think we will see an influx of people at least trying AI powered smart creation type platforms, because I think it will reduce the barrier to entry to a lot of people.
Exactly. What we saw in 2020 during COVID, people had time, and they, for like almost all our customers, numbers went up during the first year of COVID, because people still had pictures, but now they had time to move them to physical space. So this shows that the market is there, but because we're living in the 21st century, no one has time to spend days for creating photo book. So we have to give them tools to make it happen.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Kasper, for your time. Appreciate it again. Once again, where do people go for more information?
Getprintbox.com. That will be the best answer.
And thank you much, and have a great holiday season, and hope to see you sometime in 2022.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.